35 deployed in camps or bases, 89 are on the front line, 1 is detained, and 1 has completed the contract. Global Face Human Resources Limited, a private recruitment agency located along Koinange Street in Nairobi, owned by one Festus Arasa Omwamba, and his number is given here. The agency is registered under a number that is given and was registered on the 15th of February 2024 and currently not accredited by the National Employment Authority. The agency has actively conducted recruitment drives in Kenya targeting skilled and semi-skilled youth for foreign employment as using the Kazi Maju initiative to present itself as a legitimate government-endorsed recruiter. The recruits depart the country on tourist visas to clandestinely join the Russian military. Their travel routes are through Istanbul and Abu Dhabi in the UAE, as mentioned. Several victims have returned to Kenya either maimed or having managed to escape from the war zone through the assistance of the Kenyan embassy in Moscow. Majority of the recruited Kenyans indicated that they were made to sign contracts by the agency and an unnamed overseas employment support agency based in Moscow, Russia. Upon arrival in Moscow, they were taken to military camps, trained for 3 weeks, and subsequently deployed to the battlefields against Ukraine. They indicate that they have since shared intelligence with the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, who have since conducted a raid at one of the identified holding bases in Great Wall Apartments at the river on the 24th of September, where 22 victims, all aged between 24 and 38 years, were being held pending travel. They were under the care of a Mr. Edward Kamaugi Tuku and a Mr. Joel Mushiri Ngugi, alias Caleb. It was further established that Mikhail Layapin, alias Sagevich, a Russian national and holder of passport number given, is linked to Festus's trafficking activities. His social media presence under the handle at Mishayalpin identifies him as a founder of Mwaki Kenya and an African markets enthusiast. Mikhail was arrested on the 25th of September 2025 and repatriated to Russia on the 26th of September 2025, and an alert to monitor order placed against him. That is to make sure that if he attempts to get into the country again, they will be able to detect. And reports already indicate that he's planning to sneak back to Kenya. Inspo Care Health Limited, situated near Muthaiga Square along Thika Road, Superhighway, and Universal Trends Medical and Diagnostic Center, located near City Hall within Nairobi CBD, were being used to conduct medical examinations for the potential recruits. The recruitment of Kenyans to fight in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war is exposing Kenya to various risks, endangering lives of innocent young people, and has the potential to cause diplomatic tiffs between Kenya and the two warring countries. The National Intelligence Service will continue to share actionable intelligence aimed at mitigating risks associated with Kenyans seeking overseas jobs. And they have already, as indicated, shared that with intelligence with the National Police Service through the Directorate of Criminal Investigations. And in the report that the DCI has filed, they have also collaborated what the National Intelligence Service is saying, that they indeed received intelligence in September of last year, and the DCI through the Transnational Organized Crimes Unit, TOKU, received that intelligence that Kenyans were suspected to be victims of human trafficking, were being held at Great Wall Garden, Mavoko Sub-County. They arrested the people named, and Honorable Speaker, during the raid, they also recovered 39 unsigned employment contracts, 16 passports belonging to the victims, 2 mobile phones belonging to the suspect, and a cook, 2 laptops, 1 HP printer, and a motor vehicle whose registration number is given, believed to have been used to transport the victims. Court orders were subsequently obtained to exploit the mobile phones and laptops, and analysis ongoing, and also to acquire M-Pesa and Airtel money statements that have since been received, acquire bank statements from Equity and KCB, and responses from the banks have been received by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations. Honorable Speaker, they say that investigations established that recruitment was conducted through an agency named Global Face Human Resources, just as the National Intelligence Service has collaborated. And the other agency that was found to be conducting similar recruitment is Talent Shepherd Agency, which is, again, just like the first agency, not registered under the National Employment Authority. Several brokers and agents were identified and are all under active investigations. On financial investigations, Honorable Speaker, 17 victims confirmed payments via M-Pesa and bank transfers amounting to a total of 975,800 shillings. Additionally, 3 returnees confirmed to have paid Kenya shillings 640,000. Total confirmed payments so far are Kenya shillings 1.615800 million shillings. Bank accounts belonging to Edward Kamau Gituku and Festus Arasa Omwamba have since been frozen. On investigations, again, they have established the role of Festus Arasa Omwamba, and that is a gentleman, the honorable member for Kilgoris furnished the house with last week. An investigation established that Festus Arasa Omwamba is believed to be the Kenyan-based mastermind and is associated with the other agents in Moscow. Festus organized accommodation, Russian bank accounts, and coordination with employers in Russia. Victims were promised bonuses ranging from Kenya shillings 910,000 to Kenya shillings 1.2 million shillings. Victims were required to open Russian bank accounts upon arrival. A stop order has been placed through immigration against Festus Arasa Omwamba. However, he has filed an anticipatory bail under High Court case number HCCR, miscellaneous case E110/2025 at Milimani High Court. The matter is scheduled for directions on 30th March 2026. The Office of the Attorney General is handling the case. On return victims or returnees, they say 3 victims were rescued to Kenya: Mr. Vincent Odhiambo Awiti, Duncan Moogi, Stanley Mongai Kamau. From their statements, Russian bank accounts were opened in Moscow. They underwent 9 days of weapons and explosives training. Only 9 days. They were deployed to active war front areas. One Kenyan, Eric Korinko, was shot and unfortunately lost his life. Others remain injured or missing in Russia. The pending actions is 1, arrest of additional brokers and agents. 2 is collaboration with Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Affairs to trace victims abroad. 3 is recording statement of mentally unstable returnees. 4 is completion of forensic analysis of the electronic devices that they have obtained court orders as indicated in the report by DCI. And 5 is receipt of the pending bank reports. The name of Simon Ndiema Kitereswa has not featured in their investigations, but analysis of documents and intelligence continues. I think this Mr. Ndiema is the one the member for Kilgoris had asked about. On the challenges that the DCI notes, he says 2 medical facilities, Inspo Care Medical Center and Universal Trends Medical and Diagnostic Center obtained a High Court injunction restraining investigators from accessing victim medical records. Anticipatory bail application by Festus Omwamba is pending determination. The matter against Mr. Edward Kamau Gituku is active before Kahawa Law Courts and is scheduled for mention on the 19th of February 2026 for pre-trial conference and disclosure. And they conclude by saying investigations have established the existence of an organized transnational trafficking syndicate recruiting Kenyan citizens under false pretenses and deploying them to active conflict zones in Russia. While significant progress has been made, investigations remain active, particularly regarding the arrest of additional suspects, forensic analysis of digital evidence, rescue of victims already trafficked, resolution of legal barriers affecting evidence collection. Your continued support and interagency cooperation in this matter is highly encouraged and recommended. Honorable Speaker, if you listen to those two reports, both by the National Intelligence Service and the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, clearly they seem to be on top of the game and have been able to track the agencies that are recruiting Kenyans. But notably, Honorable Speaker, is what they mentioned, that there has been collusion between officers from the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, the Directorate of Immigration Services, and the National Employment Authority. And I think, Honorable Speaker, what I would urge that you direct is, one, that the ministry is concerned, the Ministry of Interior, State Department for Immigration Services, must be able to pinpoint who are these particular officers and hold them to account. The same with DCI. They must be able to hold to account those officers who are colluding with criminals. Same with the National Employment Authority. And also, more telling is a collusion by officers at the Russian embassy and the Kenyan embassy in Moscow. Our ambassador in Moscow must be able to identify the officers within the embassy that may have colluded with these criminals to facilitate the travel of innocent Kenyans to be able to go and work in the front line in a battle area. And Honorable Speaker, government offices are not to be used for criminal activities. And therefore, our embassy must be beyond reproach. It must be the place where Kenyans in that country or anywhere in the vicinity can seek refuge. But it can't be a place that a few officers within the ministry facilitate criminals to lie to innocent Kenyans who may not know the circumstances that are there in Russia. Therefore, I would urge, Honorable Speaker, that we direct the Directorate of Criminal Investigations and the National Intelligence Service, as they have indicated, to identify the particular officers, whether it is at the Russian embassy, our embassy in Moscow, or at JKIA, or within the ministries of immigration, the State Department of Immigration and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and hold those particular officers to account. Because they have made other Kenyans lose lives, others suffer in a battlefront. And of course, the emotional turmoil that the families of these young men, and I presume they're all young men, young men who have gone to Russia are going through. And we watch them every day, Honorable Speaker, on national TV, families crying out. To Honorable Speaker, is to ask the State Department for Immigration to be more vigilant. Because you see, when JKIA is closely monitored, you hear now they have moving through South Africa, Uganda, and other neighboring countries. And that explains, Honorable Speaker, why you see a number of the victims, many of them are from the western part of Kenya, because of the proximity of the border to Uganda and the other countries on the west of our country, where they can now get through, even those who are going to South Africa, to be able to leave the country. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, let me take this opportunity to urge Kenyans. Please, the National Employment Authority portal or website details which agencies are licensed. Whenever anybody seeks to recruit you for kazi maju, confirm with the National Employment Authority website on their portal, or just place a call to them and confirm whether that is a legitimately licensed agency. Because if you are recruited by an agency that is licensed, then the NEA is able to follow up with that agency. But if you go to rogue agencies, then they will call you, they will take your money, as you've heard, Kenyans have lost their money, and they will take you to those battlefronts. But those that are legitimate under NEA will never take you to battlefronts. They will take you for legit jobs or legitimate jobs abroad, or what is called kazi maju. And I have seen the Cabinet Secretary for Labor, the Honorable Mutua, in many occasions explain to Kenyans how to go about getting kazi maju. And it is never through these rogue agencies. So please just go through the NEA portal and use those legitimate agencies as you look for jobs outside the country. Otherwise, many people will take advantage of you and you may end up in those battlefronts, end up getting maimed, hospitalized, like those 39 who are said to be hospitalized in Russia, or even lose your life. That will leave your family and many of us in this country with a lot of emotional turmoil. Honorable Speaker, with that, I submit, and I hope Kenyans have heard that it is only them that can assist these investigative agencies by also collaborating with them and adhering to the set rules and standards on recruitment under kazi majuu. Don't go to rogue agencies. Don't confirm with the ministry, either of Foreign Affairs or the Ministry of Labor, whether the person recruiting you is licensed and whether the jobs that they are promising you are actual jobs. Because many of these young people have been promised security jobs. They are told you are going to work as a guard. They don't tell you are going to work in the military. And you assume as a guard, those ones of carrying a rungu. Or just manning an entrance of a building. That's what they are promised. Only to get to those countries and you are taken to military camps. You only trained for 3 weeks. The military, nobody in the military, no military in the world trains people for 3 weeks. You've had some have been trained for only 9 days. Yes. They are basically just giving you a gun to go and die. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader Haika.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. While appreciating the report of the Majority Leader, Mr. Speaker, these are issues that come to our committee each and every day, Mr. Speaker. I have had a chance to sit with NEA severally on the same matter of rogue recruitment agencies who continue to exploit our Kenyans each and every day, Mr. Speaker. And the answer they give us that they have blocked, most of them have already been blacklisted, but somehow, somewhat, you find there are so many other rogue agencies out there who continue to exploit Kenyans each and every day. So I think, Mr. Speaker, NEA are a bit overwhelmed, and this one needs a collective government approach from different state departments just to come and assist, because this is one of the most serious cases that also we have it in the committee. We have received many complaints, but there are many more that Kenyans who are suffering out there because they have been given an opportunity to travel by these rogue agencies, and then they are not able to get the services that they went to do. Some of them have been taken to go and work, and only to realize that there are no jobs. They get there and they get stranded. Some of them pay and they never get there. Some of them get to many countries and they get to get mistreated and they never get help. So I'm happy that we are discussing this. All of us are taking keen interest on this because Kenyans really need to get hope. And I know, Mr. Speaker, it is the Kazi Majuu program. There are many Kenyans who have been assisted, the ones that have traveled through the right channels. We are not saying it is a bad program, but the Kenyans who are traveling using the rogue recruitment agencies are the ones who are suffering, and that is the issue that we really need to look at. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am extremely shocked in the manner in which Kenyans can be actually taken all the way to Moscow to fight another sovereign country called Ukraine. Mr. Speaker, this is a chilling matter that we are so vulnerable to an extent that we are not able to manage this particular Kazi Majuu thing. The DCI now and the NIS need to go with swift to interrogate all these agencies that pretend to take labor outside this country. It is now upon our government to look back the same Kenyans who went to fight Ukrainians to come back and work in Kulalu farms, to work in Takwel farms, create opportunities for them so that they can work in their country. So, Speaker, to an extent where they go through Uganda or South Africa because of desperation of jobs that are not known. It's a serious matter. I also take this opportunity to call out parents and community leaders to Nyumbagumi. If a parent does not see his son for 2-3 weeks, does not come home, or says he wants to go to Kasimaju, ask yourself, where is your son going? Because this is a serious matter that we must begin from parents to government to agencies that do investigation so that we can protect the sovereignty of this country, the people of Kenya, being butchered or murdered in areas that they do not know.
Thank you.
Even receiving training for 3 weeks, Mr. Speaker, even bandits receive training for more than 2 years. These ones receive training for 3 weeks and they know how to draw bombs.
Is that from your experience? Yes, Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, there are things you say and your national TV. How did the honorable member for Baringo North know how long it takes to train a bandit? He needs to substantiate and tell us how did he know how long it takes to train a bandit? Has he ever trained one?
Makla?
Speaker, I have never trained a bandit. If anything, we have seen people doing banditry for many years, and today, Mr. Speaker, I want to report to you that there is no more bandits. They have been finished, and the people of the North Rift are peaceful, and I am now the bishop of everybody around that area. So there is nobody training bandits, Mr. Speaker, as alleged by the lady. I'm not the bishop.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi niweze kumpongeza kiongozi wa wengi. Mheshimiwa Spika, niko katika kamati ya diaspora kama alivyosema Mheshimiwa Haika. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, inasikitisha sana kuona kuwa Wakenya wanatolewa hapa, wanapita immigration, anapita anaenda Uganda, anaenda sehemu nyingine, kumbe anaenda katika taifa ambalo lina vita. Mheshimiwa Spika, hata kama kuna ukosefu wa ajira, lazima Wakenya waweze kujua haki zao za kimsingi, na Kenya hairuhusu Mkenya yoyote kutoka kwenda katika mataifa ambayo yana vita. Mheshimiwa Spika, na Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi napenda kusema mara nyingi wamekuja NEA, na niweze kusema Madam Okoki anafanya kazi nzuri sana pale, lakini hawa ambao wanachukua watoto wetu, na mimi nasikitishwa sana kwa sababu hizi kazi za majuu zilianzia Mombasa. Mheshimiwa Spika, lakini wale maagent wetu wa Mombasa utapata wameachwa nyuma. Sasa wameingia hawa ambao wanapeleka watu tu mahali popote, hawaangalii sheria. Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi nataka kusema migration, kwa sababu wako kwenye mipaka yote, hao ndio ambao wanafanya Wakenya wanapita kwa sababu wanahongwa huko. Mheshimiwa Spika, lazima migration waangalie kama NIS, hao ndio wanakuja kuvet hawa agencies, wanawaveti vizuri, siwezi kuwalaumu, lakini yule ambayo yuko kwenye mipaka, yuko airport, anaruhusu vipi Mkenya atoke Kenya kwenda Russia kwenda kupigana? Na kisha niulize, serikali ya Russia inawezaje kuchukua Wakenya bila kufuatia serikali? Masuala ya vita, masuala ya wanajeshi, lazima wapite kwa serikali, wajue kuna maelewano ama hatukubali, tuachane na wao. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi napinga hii sana, na nataka nimwambie na nizungumze na NEA, niseme waangalie wale maagent walikuwa zamani, walikuwa very focused, sasa hivi wameachwa hivyo, hao wameingia wakora wote wanyang'anywa vibali vao. Maana kuna mpaka wale ambao wana certificate wako registered. Mheshimiwa Spika, bado wanafanya mambo haya. Wakenya ndio hawana kazi, lakini tuangalie kazi ambazo zinakuja, kazi za maana, kazi nzuri ambazo ziko katika mataifa ambayo hayana vita, watoto wetu waweze kwenda. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Wamshomba. Give Wamshomba the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the Majority Leader for the report he has tabled. Indeed, it is very clear, Mr. Speaker, that our people are really vulnerable, and we understand the need and the desire for them to improve their livelihoods through looking for jobs. But, Mr. Speaker, a week ago we saw the same kind of exploitation. Today, the Majority Leader is telling us about labor exploitation. A week ago, Mr. Speaker, we witnessed sexual exploitation of women by a Russian character. And it is very, very embarrassing that, Mr. Speaker, as we speak right now, those women can hardly walk with pride and dignity as women in Kenya, because their images are all over social media in Kenya. Mothers, our sisters, our daughters, being exposed by a character who is purportedly coming to exploit women sexually. Mr. Speaker, this thing is becoming very serious. We request that just like the CID and the NIS have done an extensive research, we need them to uncover this character, this Russian character, who claims to have a serious sexual prowess than the men of Kenya, who came here to exploit our women, recording himself with the women, trapping them and luring them into nice dances and whatever else he's offering. Mr. Speaker, the government must protect the women of Kenya from such characters, and we must make sure that we protect the dignity of our women, because that is our duty. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me also join my colleagues in lauding the Majority Leader for expeditiously bringing a report to this House to expound on this vexatious issue of our young men and women going to fight wars of they have no interest in and getting killed. Honorable Speaker, labor mobility is an acceptable form of economic empowerment that should not be discouraged upon. Whichever way, when somebody chooses to go and do for labor outside the country, he is duty bound to go and do a job that is safe and enhances the dignity of his family and himself. Honorable Speaker, many people who go out to do these manual jobs do so out of desperation. If you listen to the Conference of Catholics, when the Catholic bishops on their Lenten campaign program, they have detailed very desperate situations that are literally driving families into depression and to do anything that can save them life. Honorable Speaker, as a country, the only way we can save ourselves from this situation is to continuously build this economy so that each and every Kenyan can have a job to do, so that those who go out of this country do so out of luxury or to improve their skills and get better skills. I just want to urge the government, the executive, to get to the root of it and clearly stop this mess, because it's going to be costly, embarrassing. As I conclude, Honorable Speaker, and let me pick up what Honorable Mchomba has said, and the Honorable Jared has told me as he was leaving, it's double tragedy for Kenyans. Kenyans are dying in Russia, and there's somebody here who is embarrassing Kenyans here in this country. It's double tragedy. We appreciate and we apologize to the people of Kenya. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Bersimba.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kunipa fursa na mimi nipenyeze sauti yangu kwenye hili swala la Wakenya kwenda kuuawa katika nchi ya ugeni. Kwanza Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nitatoa lawama langu kwa idara mbili, idara ya uhamiaji na idara ya ujasusi, kwa sababu wangekuwa wamepeleleza kujua kwamba hawa Wakenya wanaopelekwa Russia na sasa Russia iko katika mzozo wanaenda kufanya nini, na hata uhamiaji wao ndio wanaowakubalia wakipita, wangekuwa wanataka kujua hasa ni karatasi ama ana agreement gani, makubaliano gani na kazi gani. Na hatari yake ni kwamba hapa kweli kuna shida ya kazi, na si Kenya peke yake, ni ulimwengu mzima. Lakini hapa kwetu kidogo wanaona kama hawamekata matumaini. Ni sisi tuweke matumaini kwamba wao wawe wanajua kwamba hata hapa watapata ajira ili waweze kujiendeleza maisha yao. Hatari yake Mheshimiwa Spika, naosema kwamba ninalaumu ujasusi na uhamiaji. Wale wakienda kule tunasikitika kwamba wanapoteza maisha yao, lakini kesho Mungu akiwasaidia pengine kule, si lazima ukienda paka ufe. Unaweza kwenda na ukamaliza na ukarudi. Wakati wamerudi na wamepata ujuzi wa aina tofauti na waje wakae hapa hawana kazi, hii taifa litakuwa namna gani? Ndio maana nasema ujasusi kama wako wachache lazima waongezeke, ili kusudi wachunguze kila menendo ya mambo yanavyoendelea kwa usalama wa taifa hili. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, ni kwamba tuwe makini ili kusudi watoto wetu wasiende kupoteza maisha yao nchi za ugeni. Asante sana.
We'll stop there on this. Majority Leader, those were all positive comments. They don't require your rejoinder. Elachi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to request for a statement regarding delay in provision of emergency treatment under the Social Health Authority. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 42C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health regarding the delay in provision of emergency treatment under the Social Health Authority. Honorable Speaker, in January 2026, 3 teachers, namely Ms. Faith Dunge Nguma, Jacob Mwadi Kingo, and Mr. Nicholas Omondi Arema, tragically succumbed to injuries sustained following an accident that occurred outside City Primary School in Nairobi County. The deceased passed away due to delayed access to medical treatment occasioned by lack of funds required for admission. Notably, teachers across the country contribute towards the Social Health Authority Fund and are therefore entitled to timely and adequate medical care under the scheme. This unfortunate incident has raised grave concerns among teachers regarding the efficiency, responsiveness, and operational preparedness of the Social Health Authority (SHA) in handling emergency medical cases involving active contributors. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health on the following. Circumstances that led to the delay in admission and provision of emergency treatment to the 3 teachers despite being active contributors of SHA, operational mechanisms put in place to facilitate provision of emergency treatment to teachers under the Social Health Authority, and compensation measures, if any, to support the families of the deceased teachers. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Chair Health.
Any Kenyan
member
who
from the
earns
committee?
less than 30,000.
Majority Leader relay to them to bring a response in 2 weeks. Okay. Next order. Yes, hold Chisairo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to bring to the attention of the House that there is so much communication that comes to this House, be it from the ministers, the CSs, or from the committee chairpersons, that ends up being messages of just ensuring that time passes. Honorable Speaker, last year, on the issues of KERA, we had the CS here, and there was an agreement that all the funds going to constituencies will remain untouched. But, Honorable Speaker, I would like to notify the House that the regional engineers have gotten communication of a deduction of up to 13 million per constituencies. That is being, for the 22%, reduced from 42 million to 35 million, and for 10%, reduced from 21 million to 5 million. Honorable Speaker, I would like your indulgence to try and ensure that these monies come as promised by the CS, because it's the rainy season and we are really struggling to have roads in our constituencies.
Indeed, Gisairo, that matter came to the House Business Committee yesterday, and we tasked the Majority Leader to liaise with the Executive and bring a response. Probably we can give him time either tomorrow or next week. Majority Leader, when can you? Next week?
Yes, Tuesday next week.
Tuesday next week. He will give a response to that. In the House Business Committee, the matter was raised by Honorable Mwalio and Honorable Kainan. I also have copies of those letters you are quoting, and Majority Leader will respond. Next order.
Order number 8, the Fire and Rescue Services Professionals Bill, Senate Bill number 55 of 2023, second reading. Question to be put.
Members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members, will now put the question at order number 8, which is that the Fire and Rescue Services Professionals Bill, Senate Bill number 55 of 2023, be now read a second time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The nays have it. Next.
Order number 9. Order number 9, motion, consideration of a petition regarding pollution of River Athi. Question to be put.
Honorable members, I'll now put the question at order number 9, which is that this House adopts the report of the Public Petitions Committee on its consideration of public petition number 11 of 2022 regarding pollution of River Athi, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 11th April 2024. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, motion, consideration of a petition regarding regulation of TikTok in Kenya. Resumption of debate.
Who was on the floor? Okay. On the screen, if I go by the screen, I have Gitonga Murugara. Are you queuing for this? No. Wilberforce Oundo, are you queuing for this? Adan Haji Mandera West, are you queuing for this? Mangale Chiforomondo. Rindikiri Mugambi. Beatrice Elachi, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also want to rise and support the report. Mr. Speaker, I know many of our young people might think that this House wants to gag them on TikTok. But I want to also tell many of our young people today that even when you look at the report of the bishops, of the Catholic bishops, they are requesting, how can we ensure we have TikTok, yes, but TikTok should not be used for pornography, should not be used to misuse the country, should not be used for sexual offenses. And so, Mr. Speaker, it's a matter of where we just need to come on the table and agree that we have laws in this country, and these laws are laws that protect our young people.
Honorable Elachi, just before you proceed, Majority Leader, if you recall, in the House Business Committee, we did observe very clearly that the motion before the House is not for banning TikTok. It's for regulation of TikTok. And we observed very clearly that the issue is content. And this country and this parliament has a legal and moral duty to protect our children, our families, and our country from moral perversion and moral corruption. So anybody out there, and Irene Mayaka has alerted me to something going around, that this parliament is debating to ban TikTok. That's exactly the problem that this motion is dealing with. Misinformation, disinformation, and fake news. That is what you are dealing with. So whoever is misleading the country, there is no motion before this House to ban TikTok. But there's a motion before this House to deal with the recklessness that come along the otherwise very good intentions on TikTok. Elachi, you can proceed now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, all of us will agree, and every Kenyan will agree, that it is important for us to look at our national security and our public safety. And I think what we are saying as Parliament is, how do we strengthen the legal framework, the regulatory framework, to ensure that indeed there is data protection. Because, Mr. Speaker, you'll find every manner of TikTok in this country. While we are embracing and accepting and fighting left and right, in Europe they are regulating and they are making sure children who are minor, who are below 18 years, are able to be safeguarded. And so therefore, for us to stand firm, Mr. Speaker, it is important for us to ensure that we look at every, and the Kenya Authority, the Communications Authority, must also look at it. And it is required very well to also register major social media operators so that we agree, because it is a country. We are not just in a world where we do our things. If we don't have order, we will find ourselves with many challenges. So I want to plead to the young people, what is safe for your sibling who is in the house, who is young? What is safe? What would you love them to see that is good for them? Because you might be an adult, you are able to see. Mr. Speaker, when you look at all the TikToks we've allowed, it has become it's an advertisement platform, yes. Can be used very well to do very many good things for the country. But at the same time, it cannot be an advertisement platform where at night I put it on and decide now it is my time to do all the pornographies that I will want, and yet you know very well tomorrow that same space, any person can still find it. So we are just saying, let us regulate. Let us make it workable for our young people, but also for the minors. And let us protect our country. That is why this Russian man decided to land on us, because he found a place where Kenya, we have democracy beyond democracy, where you can do anything. And you can also decide. That's why he's using the same TikTok to spread all the women. And I don't know what we are still doing with this Russian man, Mr. Speaker, because this is one example where now we say, if our law in Kenya is strict on pornography, how did it end up on our TikToks? How? Those are things we need to deal with. The other thing that you realize, it is also a space where someone just does a crime and feels it's okay to just share this crime. And he will just use TikTok to share the same crime. And we need also the owners of TikTok to start telling us, because they are also responsible. If you have a space, a digital space that you've allowed people to use, then allow also a space to report. Mr. Speaker, it is so difficult to report a TikTok. And so, yeah, it is so difficult to report. It's not like Facebook, where I'll go and pick a video, report until they'll pull it down. It is so difficult. And that's why we are saying, even for us, the Communications Authority must also give the people, those who have been given these spaces, who are international digital people, to ensure that they are able to be questioned, they are able to also be remanded when things are going wrong. So, Mr. Speaker, I support and I plead with the young people, let us create a space for both you, but also safeguard your siblings at home and the minors who are in school. I beg to support.
KJ.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you. And I do stand here well cognizant of what direction the chair has given on this debate. That, Mr. Speaker, this debate does not hinge on a banning. We are talking as a country about the regulation of a platform that is in the hands not only of adults in this country, but also very vulnerable young children, Mr. Speaker. And the conversation ought to start with the understanding that regulations and laws can only do so much. That even families, parents, teachers, older brothers and sisters also have a place in this debate, Mr. Speaker. And so the debate that comes to the floor of this House today, Mr. Speaker, must be seen as a policy debate, not a moral panic. Kenya is not in any moral panic, but we must have a conversation around the policies that speak to this technology that is taking us into the fourth industrial revolution and beyond, Mr. Speaker. We also all must remind ourselves that some of these applications are not engineered. They're not made in this country, Mr. Speaker. And so when you get onto a platform and start working with algorithms that are set by somebody out there, the algorithms could be set for pushing marketing, Mr. Speaker, for pushing business, and in the same time, not conscious to the African traditional values that we answer to, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, my point is that one, regulation must protect without strangling innovation. That these innovations are useful for a time such as this, Mr. Speaker. That when we talk about this fourth industrial revolution, we are cognizant that it is driven by innovation, Mr. Speaker. So that even as we debate about these emerging technologies, we ought to remind ourselves that they are here to support enterprise, to support human development, to support education, but at the same time, Mr. Speaker, they must be sensitive to the human component, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is important that even as we move towards regulation, we understand what the river banks are for this regulation in this new space in what we are calling the fourth industrial revolution. And Mr. Speaker, chairing the Committee on Communication, Information and Innovation, my recommendations on the riverbank, it has to be so clear that we are focusing on a number of issues, Mr. Speaker. Number one, we need to have very clear community standards that are aligned with all the Kenyan laws, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, we must have transparent content moderation processes. Mr. Speaker, the parameters that have been set are set in capitals far away from Nairobi. And even the daily user can tell you that these parameters work differently for each post that they put out. So, Mr. Speaker, we should be working as a parliament towards transparent content moderation processes, Mr. Speaker. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, there is a need for local accountability and representation in the country, Mr. Speaker, so that every entity that is doing business in this country must follow the old company laws that allow for them to be registered locally, so that what they are doing is also answerable to the laws of the land, Mr. Speaker. We must also have a right of appeal for content takedowns, Mr. Speaker, so that it is not just an algorithm or a computer somewhere deciding on what stays up and what comes down. Mr. Speaker, this again also needs to be very transparent as we go forward. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to say that there is a key need in this country for child safety and mental health, which should be non-negotiable, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we all know how trends on social media work on the brain of a human being. As it is, we know the effect it can have on an adult. We are yet to know fully, Mr. Speaker, what this dependence on social media is just about to do on the little children whose minds are still at the formative stage, where we were told that the mind forms from the age of 0 to around 18, and from there, Mr. Speaker, up to 21, there is a moderation on growth in the mental growth of a human being. So, Mr. Speaker, we must be able to protect our children from explicit content, from gambling and financial scams, extremism and propaganda, harmful body image narratives, Mr. Speaker, so that then we shall be speaking towards that. Finally, Mr. Speaker, we ought to consider this petition very seriously on the case of data sovereignty and national security, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I do pledge for just a minute, Mr. Speaker, so that I prosecute this point. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for according me that 1 minute. Mr. Speaker, we need to come very strongly on the issue of data sovereignty and national security. Mr. Speaker, the committee that I chair, the Committee on Communication, Information and Innovation, started with its first order of business in this parliament by interrogating an individual who had landed in this country with an orb-shaped equipment, which they were collecting human data out of Kenyans by just incentivizing them with a few thousand Kenya shillings, which were not even fiat money. They were being induced using money that they ought to have redeemed using cyber money, Mr. Speaker. And that case alone opened the Pandora's box on what is happening in terms of exploitation of data and data sovereignty against laws that have been passed by this parliament. Because, Mr. Speaker, Kenya leads on the part of data protection. What we're looking for is compliance, adherence, and also policing, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I need to complete by saying that any regulatory framework must insist on compliance with the Kenyan data protection standards. It must be clear disclosure of cross-border data transfers, and it must also speak to the cooperation with Kenyan authorities in lawful investigations. And I want to thank Mr. Bob Ndolo profusely for bringing this to the floor of the House so that we can have a conversation that is fit for a time such as this. That even as Kenya walks into the new land that is digital, we also must protect our people, our children, our women, and the entire populace, Mr. Speaker. And I do thank you, and I support with those very pointed support points that can be fed into this petition, so that as we are prosecuting it as Parliament, we will be very sensitive to what already we have done as a Parliament. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Russell.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, I beg to support this particular report. This is a lawmaking house, and if we fail to make the laws for this land, then we are not just destroying the current generation, we'll be destroying the future generation. The attempt of this particular bill in the report is to regulate. And by regulating, you are protecting two sides. It's a double-edged sword. That I'm protecting you, but at the same time, I'm giving you leeway to do what you are supposed to do, but within the limits of confines that the law says do not exceed. Honorable Speaker, there are content creators on TikTok who make a lot of money and they make good living. But that should not come at the expense of the social regulation that is needed in this country. And us, we are Africans. We are still not Europeans, or we don't live in the West. We still have a lot of traditions that we want to protect. It is the other generations who can decide either way. But for us today, living in Kenya and being leaders for this country, we have teenagers, and we must go out there to tell them, yes, this is good, but if you go beyond this limit, this will affect you. Mr. Speaker, TikTok is accessed by everybody, from the old, the young, the male, the female. And because of that accessibility, you must look at what is the content. Is it good for a youngster? Is it good for an adult? Because sometimes somebody flashes, even within Parliament, somebody all of a sudden sees the phone ringing and then he says, oh, what is this? So, Mr. Speaker, we have a moral duty as lawmakers of this country to say that what is not right for this country or what is not right for any generation should not be allowed in this country. Mr. Speaker, I agree with KJ when he says that a lot of these TikTok algorithms is done by other people in Europe, in China, in America, but we are just consumers. In a black box. Yeah, it is given to us in a coded language, and we just think that it is a simple thing. So when this committee of ICT sit, they must not sit on their hands. They must be brave men and women to say that you have crossed the red line. The Communication Authority of Kenya, Mr. Speaker, in the last motion, the leader of majority tabled a report about young Kenyans recruited as mercenaries to go and fight in Russia. It is indicative of people sleeping on their jobs. These are not 1 or 2 Kenyans who are being taken outside. There are hundreds of them, maybe in 500. What is the reason? Why hasn't somebody picked it up? Why is there no one before court? Because many of them are innocent youngsters who are seeking for a good living, greener pastures, but somebody else is prying on them, sending them to a foreign war so that they just become fodder for those wars. So for that reason, Mr. Speaker, even this TikTok, those organizations that are watchdog for the country must not sit on their hands, must put their hands on the button to say, no, you have crossed a red line. With those remarks, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi niweze kuchangia masala ya TikTok. Mheshimiwa Spika, vijana wengi hata naona kwenye mtandao wamepeleka habari ambazo sizo, kuwa bunge hili linataka kuban kabisa TikTok. Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka ifahamike kuwa huo ni uongo, na jumba hili linataka kuweza kuweka mikakati ya kuweza kuhakikisha kuwa TikTok inatumika vizuri. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni vijana wengi tu ambao wanapata ajira pale, wanapata senti zao pale, na wanaweka content ambao ni nzuri sana za kuweza kuwasaidia na kuingiza kitu kidogo. Mheshimiwa Spika, tumeona vijana wengi wanafanya biashara, bidhaa zao, na hata sisi kama wabunge tumekuwa tukinunua kutoka kwao bidhaa zao. Mheshimiwa Spika, ambayo ni kitu kizuri sana. Mheshimiwa Spika, lakini pia kuna wengine ambao wanaitumia TikTok vibaya. Mheshimiwa Spika, utapata mama ya mtu pengine amewekwa uchi kwenye TikTok, anachekwa, mtu ampigwa picha bila kujua, bila idhini yake, imetumika kutumia content ambao si nzuri. Mheshimiwa Spika, na watoto wadogo wakifika pale wanakutana na picha na video ambazo ni za kutamausha sana, ambazo zinawaharibu pia akili zao. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa hiyo mimi nataka niwaambie vijana wa Kenya, sio kuwa nyinyi mnanyimwa kutumia TikTok la, lakini nataka iwekwe mikakati ambayo kwamba mtatumia TikTok vizuri ili muweze kujifaidi na kuendeleza maisha yenu. Mheshimiwa Spika, lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, ikumbukwe kuwa China mpaka wa leo wameban kwao TikTok kwa sababu walijua ina madhara gani. Mimi ningependa niseme taifa hili, kabla tungekuwa tumeanza kutumia TikTok, ingekuwa tumeweka mikakati. Umeona sasa, ndio kwa hivyo unaona sasa hivi vijana wanaanza kubabaika, wanaona kama ajira zao zitapotea, lakini sivyo hivyo. Ni mikakati ya kuweka sheria ya kutumia TikTok vizuri. Tumeona watu wanawekwa kwenye masanduku majeneza kwa wamekufa, mtu mwingine ambaye hana ufahamu anaanza naye kupeleka hiyo information kuwa fulani amekufa wakati ambapo ni urongo. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa hiyo mimi kama mama nimeona mengi sana kwenye TikTok. Nimeona watu wanatukana na matusi, wengine wanaweka live wanatukana na matusi mabaya, hata watoto wakipatikana na simu akiangalia anaona vitu ambavyo sivyo. Mheshimiwa Spika, lakini pia nimeona wengi ambao wanafunza masala ya herbals, masala ya mambo mazuri sana katika jamii. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa hiyo sisi wale ambao sisi tunaangalia kuweza kutoa zile content ambazo ni mbovu ni wale ambao wanatumia TikTok vibaya. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, hii taifa inaongozwa na sheria, ambao sheria ilipigiwa kura na Wakenya wote. Mheshimiwa Spika, na lazima sheria ifuatwe hata kwenye mitandao. Kwa hiyo mimi nataka niseme TikTok imetoa ajira, ndio TikTok imesaidia wengi, na kama alivyosema ndugu yangu Kiare, imekuwa na msisimko mkubwa kwenye jamii ambao imesaidia vijana wengi na hata watu wazima, hata sisi kina mama, hata sisi wabunge hapa tunatumia TikTok kuweza kupeleka information kwa watu wote ama kwa jamii ambayo inatuangalia kutokana na social media. Lakini ni lazima tujue message gani ambayo inatoka kwa TikTok kuingia kwa wananchi. Ni lazima tujue who is behind this TikTok ambaye anaitumia vibaya. Wengine hata hizi kazi mnasikia za wanajeshi ambao wanaenda Russia. Mheshimiwa Spika, wengine wamepata tu pale ndani ya TikTok, mtu anatumiwa message, anakimbia mbio, anavushwa na Uganda nini, mara akianza kulia kuwa anateseka kule, hayo masala yanarejeshwa kwenye jumba hili, sisi kama wabunge na serikali inaanza kulaumiwa. Ndio maana sasa kama serikali lazima tuweke mikakati ya kuweka sheria ambayo heshima itadumu ndani ya TikTok, nidhamu itatumika vizuri, na vijana wetu waweze kufaulu katika mambo yao mazuri ambayo wanayotumia ndani ya TikTok. Kwa hiyo nataka nimwambie kijana wangu mmoja kutoka Jomvu, ameniuliza mama, mbona bunge hili lenu linataka kufunga TikTok? Nataka nikwambie TikTok iko sawa utas, wewe utumie kwa vizuri, wala msilete matatizo kwa wengine. Ni regulations tu ambazo tunaweka kuweza kuweka mikakati ya sawa. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this motion for adoption of this report by the Petitions Committee. And to re-emphasize, Honorable Speaker, the motion is to regulate the content on TikTok and other social media platforms. Because TikTok is one social media platform, Honorable Speaker, but there are many social media platforms. Honorable Speaker, also to point out to what the Speaker alluded to, that indeed, part of what we seek to address, and I must thank Bob Ndolo. Is it Ndolo? KJ? Bob Ndolo, who was a petitioner in this matter, because he's a very spirited Kenyan and one who values our nation and its young people. Because even for him to garner the courage to petition the House to put measures to regulate these social media platforms, including TikTok, is because I believe I don't know him, but I want to believe he's a parent. And any parent in Kenya, any person who cares about the children of Kenya, any person who is either a religious leader or believes in religion and God, knows that there is indeed a lot of perversion out there, most of which is being spread on these social media platforms. Again, Honorable Speaker, many countries around the world, and we have always given the case example of Australia, where they have even regulated on age limit access to some of these social media platforms, including WhatsApp, Telegram, Instagram, and this TikTok, Honorable Speaker. In this information age, misinformation, disinformation is now a daily thing. And you know, Honorable Speaker, very few people are able to distinguish what is real and what is fake, especially the AI-generated images and stuff that is AI-generated. And a lot of things are being spread on TikTok that are AI-generated. And I was rather amused the other day, Honorable Speaker, when my auntie, who is about 89 or 88, was showing me a video, and she was very keen with her thick lenses of specs, telling me, you see the way this plane has crashed, and it did not kill anybody. So when I just looked at it, I told her, Auntie, this is AI. No, lakini ndege inaanguka na unaona ikianguka. Honorable Speaker, that is the age we are in. And many people around the world are not able to distinguish what is real, what is unreal. And that is the danger with social media platforms that are not regulated. Because young, vulnerable children of Kenya will not be able to tell what is true, what is untrue. What is immoral, what is not. Because they imagine that the things they are watching on those platforms are things that other people are doing and they want to copy. And they think those who are doing those things are their heroes. Indeed, Honorable Speaker, look at the young Kenyans who are following the young man who was here the other day from the US. I Show Speed. How many of you knew who I Show Speed is? Because I must confess, I never knew who he is. I never knew until he was in Kenya. But my daughters, including my 8-year-old daughter, knew who I Show Speed is. from these social media platforms, Honorable Speaker. It tells you, thank God that such a person who's being followed is not engaging in immorality or other pervasive things. Thank God. But what if they were following someone who is showing, what if that Russian who was in Nairobi and around the other day was doing those things and recording the women he was recording and sharing them on platforms that our children, our young school girls, and in fact, you know, we only came to know it because he shared it on his Telegram, was it Instagram or Telegram page? Instagram. Honorable Speaker, if you can add me 2 minutes. That is the danger, Honorable Speaker, that we are confronted with. And if we don't regulate these social media platforms, because those out there now who are misinforming Kenyans that the National Assembly wants to ban TikTok, we are not banning TikTok. But we want to institute measures, and that is why we are saying this is a motion, this is not a law. And let me tell those out there who do not know, motions are not laws. And until the ministry comes up with a bill or regulations that will be gazetted that state how these social media platforms will be regulated, there is nothing that will change. But we are urging, and if you look at the resolutions of the committee, is that within 4 months upon adoption of this report, mechanisms for enhancement of age verification on social media platforms, localization of Kenyan user data to be retained within the country. Because, Honorable Speaker, data protection today, data is a gold mine. The most valuable thing in the world today, or valuable asset that anyone holds today, is data. And we must protect our data that is being mined using these social media platforms, including TikTok. Honorable Speaker, you may have noticed, if today you are watching a video on use of private jets, these phones are able to profile you, and tomorrow you will keep seeing very many videos showing you various forms of jets. Or even if you are looking for a car online, it will keep sending you reels showing the kind of car you are looking for. And therefore, it is data, your data that has been mined. How do you protect yourself and your children from that, Honorable Speaker? That is what we are dealing with. And Honorable Speaker, people are earning from your data. And all of us. Therefore, we must protect. The other thing we are saying is to ensure that 4 months upon adoption of this report on digital literacy programs to create awareness on data privacy, processing and storage, and community guidelines by social media platforms, including TikTok, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, let it be clear, we have no intention to ban TikTok, but we have every intention and we have a moral obligation and national duty that we owe to ourselves, to our children, and even to God, who has bestowed us with the ability to raise children, to protect them, Honorable Speaker. We have that national duty to regulate the content that is on all social media platforms, including TikTok, Honorable Speaker. Because if we don't do that, we will have failed our nation, we will have failed our children, and we will raise up a nation that has no morals, that has no ethics. And if we want to raise a nation that is moving towards a first world nation, if the first world nations are regulating the content on their social media platforms, why not us who are aspiring to get to the first world? We must follow suit, we must regulate, Honorable Speaker. And I want to beg to support this motion and thank the committee for the immense work they put in. Thank Mr. Bob Ndolo, who petitioned the House. Indeed, his petition was a call for action because we are a bit late. Many other countries have done it, and we must do. We must also regulate on the age limits that are in this report, Honorable Speaker. It is not fair that our 8-year-olds, our 4-year-olds are able to view everything that they can view on their social media platforms, Honorable Speaker. We must protect our children, and I want to urge everybody in the country to support this endeavor to regulate the content on TikTok and other social media platforms without banning it. And I insist, TikTok and other social media platforms are not being banned. They will never be banned in this country. But we must protect the country and our children. Thank you.
Madam Gladys Sholei. What's your point of order, Honorable Nzengu? What's out of order?
Honorable Speaker, I stand on standing order number 97, noting that this debate started yesterday and members more or less were saying the same thing. The message is the same. I wanted to beg the House that we terminate the debate, considering the fact that there are other items on the order paper, and we have allowed a motion of interfering with today's business.
Order, Honorable Nzengu. The mover is supposed to reply not too long from now. And the chair also has a duty to protect the minority that wants to be heard. Proceed, Madam Sholei.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you for clarifying on that point of order. I think this is the single most important motion that we can debate. I was saying, Honorable Speaker, that this is not a debate to be shortened. This is a single most important debate that we can discuss during this Parliament session. It not only affects our current children, but generations to come. So there is no way that we can take this lightly. Even if we have to debate it until tomorrow, we should. I think we should do that.
Or a point of information. Yes, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, the debate on this issue is timed, and there is no reason why we should be cutting it short ahead of its time. And in fact, members are very keen to debate this, Mr. Speaker, because understandably, more than anything else, this has a bearing on how we are bringing up our children, how we are running our businesses, how we are interacting with each other. And Mr. Speaker, this is a debate that is right for a time such as this, Mr. Speaker. Let it run its due course, Mr. Speaker, so that this House may be able to pronounce it.
Order, Honorable KJ, you are taking valuable time from the Madam Deputy Speaker. The chair has pronounced to the same. Thank you for...
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think what Honorable KJ is still important. I think it cannot be emphasized enough. And we must tell ourselves, it may look like something we're taking lightly. But when you look at the way AI is operating, or any of those apps, including TikTok, they have the potential to actually endanger national security. They endanger data privacy. And we must regulate it. And like we said, we are not banning it. We must regulate it so that we can protect our children, we can protect the vulnerable users, and we can only do this if we take charge of it. We cannot have a situation where our entire population can be controlled by an algorithm or somebody using trolls and bots and all those to be able to control the psyche, the thinking, and even create biases in our population. That would be akin to allowing the extinction of future generations. And when we say we want to regulate it, there must be strict oversight. We must talk about data localization. We must also be able to block access to certain sensitive information. And also, there is even potential misuse by which includes espionage on a country. It can also track the location of your population, including those who have sensitive information. For example, our army, our police, our intelligence service, even the movements of our military. It also has the potential, if it's uncontrolled, for it to spread propaganda in the country. It can also be used to suppress dissent. So those who are human rights activists and civil rights activists know that it's also important to protect democracy. It can sway public opinion. It can allow a foreign country or a foreign agency to mislead and control the minds of your population. It is more dangerous than a full-fledged war against a state. And when we talk about regulating it, we are telling ourselves, we'll regulate it by regulating the content, we'll regulate the misuse and abuse, we will regulate the disinformation and misinformation, we will regulate even through fines, so that if one is involved in deep fakes, in misinformation, we can then fine that country. And we've seen debates that have gone on in the US where they're saying they can fine the organization up to 20% of its turnover so that we can deter the allowing of this. Again, when we talk about regulating TikTok and these apps, we are telling ourselves we are also protecting the mental health of our children and future generations. It has been confirmed by science that it's causing attention deficiency in our children. It is disrupting sleep. It is making them have eating disorders. Some of them have even been involved in harming themselves because they've been psyched that they should be a certain way, behave a certain way, go to certain places, look at themselves in a certain way. And this has caused children to have self-doubt and to not have self-esteem. Hence the reason why we said some suicides have been related to these social media applications. Also, and this debate is not just happening in Kenya. It's happening in Denmark. It's happening in Australia. And even not so long ago, the US Supreme Court upheld the regulation of these apps by the country. It said that the country or the nation has a constitutional right to protect their citizens from being controlled by such applications. But we are not saying that some of these applications are not good. They are good and can be used for good. They can be used to promote better farming activities. They can be used for teaching. They can be used for spreading certain national values and so on. But it can only, the beneficial use can only be realized if we stop and regulate the misuse and the abuse of it. And in closing, I'd like to say, anybody can look at what happened in Romania last year. In Romania last year, 2 persons who were the winner and the runner-up of presidential elections and who declared that they spent no money on the election, had thousands and millions of TikTok accounts, which were controlled from a foreign country. And in fact, because the algorithm they had was able to manipulate the minds of people, they were elected against a political party that had been around for more than 40 years. It just tells you the power that this has on our people. And when people were interviewed and asked, do you know this person? Have you ever met them? Have you ever heard them speak? They said no. They just were seeing it on TikTok that was flooding. So if people are in a farming region, kindly allow me.
Allow her to
and those who are in farming regions, they were getting messages that were skewed to catch their attention. If people were in the city, they were getting messages that were skewed to that. It was so bad that that election had to be nullified. And the entire European Union rallied behind Romania. And they managed, thanks to their Supreme Court, to nullify it, and they went to the extent of the European Court of Justice, and it was declared that that election was null and void because it was won through misinformation and disinformation campaigns and not by telling people the truth. So as Kenyans, we must be very, very, very afraid. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Bowen.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me the opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to join my colleagues and to support the motion that, Mr. Speaker, the social media platforms in the country, Mr. Speaker, has become the source of misinformation and disinformation. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, there is need to regulate, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as a country, Kenya is not a lawless country, Mr. Speaker. And this House, Mr. Speaker, as the Legislative House, Mr. Speaker, we need to come up with the laws, with policies and regulations, Mr. Speaker, that will guide our society and guide our generation, Mr. Speaker, in terms of the use of social media. Mr. Speaker, we cannot say the social media, to an extent, it's good, Mr. Speaker. We have many young people who have earned their living through the social media in terms of marketing and many other positive things, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, the negative effects brought by the social media, Mr. Speaker, especially the TikTok, Mr. Speaker, is so immense, Mr. Speaker, that as a country we need to come up with the regulations so that, Mr. Speaker, as we use this, because, Mr. Speaker, we cannot run away from technology. Technology, Mr. Speaker, we need to move as the world moves with the technology, Mr. Speaker. As a country also, we should not be left behind. And these are the technological issues, Mr. Speaker, which we need to deal with, and we need to deal through regulations. Mr. Speaker, if you check many of the content you see in TikTok, Mr. Speaker, and you know, it exposes our young people, the school-going children, Mr. Speaker, to very bad things. Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate the committee and even the petitioner who brought this petition to this House, Mr. Speaker, that we are going to deal not only to the TikTok, Mr. Speaker, but all other social media platforms, including the Facebook, the YouTubes, and all other, Mr. Speaker, so that we are not doing away, but we regulate them so that we can use it prudently as a country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the recently photos we saw on the TikTok, which is through the Russian fellow, Mr. Speaker, if we had a regulations as a country, through our laws, through the CAK, Mr. Speaker, those contents should have been blocked out. It should not be exposed, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the social media and even the data, Mr. Speaker, is now a security concern. It is a security issue in our country, Mr. Speaker. So, which we cannot allow, Mr. Speaker, to just be run freely without any regulations. So we want to ask our young people, we want to clear the air to our young people outside there, Mr. Speaker, that we are not going to ban these social media platforms. But, Mr. Speaker, we want to bring legislation, we want to bring policies, we want to bring regulation so that how these social media are used is going to be beneficial to them and not to be harmful to the community and also to the young generation to come. So, Mr. Speaker, as a country, Mr. Speaker, I think there is also need through the Ministry of ICT, Mr. Speaker, to have a cybersecurity center. As a country, Mr. Speaker, we need to up our game in the cyber security space to make sure that, Mr. Speaker, what comes in or what is being consumed by our people or even in our country, Mr. Speaker, is something which has been filtered and it is very secure to our people. Because, Mr. Speaker, the TikTok, the YouTube, the Facebook, the Twitter, and all those, Mr. Speaker, these are not a Kenyan creation, Mr. Speaker. These are things which are beyond our borders. They are beyond us because they are beyond our control. It's controlled elsewhere. So, and the only thing we can do as a country, Mr. Speaker, is to come up with the laws so that we regulate what comes into our country, what is being consumed, and those which are threat to our national security, threat to our social justice, Mr. Speaker, and threat to our normal behaviors, Mr. Speaker, are filtered out or they are blocked. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to join my colleagues, Mr. Speaker, to say I support this motion, I support the petition, Mr. Speaker, and not only honorable members, that we leave it at this point as a motion. As the committee of petition, Mr. Speaker, I want
You have half a minute.
Yes. I was concluding saying, Mr. Speaker, we should not leave it here, even as we approve as a motion, Mr. Speaker. I want to ask the chair of the committee or petition, Mr. Speaker, to enhance this motion, Mr. Speaker, to a legislation, so that now our debate here cannot be just an exercise in futility, but we translate it to a legislation which is going to manage all this social media. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Madam Wamuchomba, followed by the MP for Yatta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am very, very excited to get this opportunity to support this report. I have listened to the report's submissions. I have read the report, Mr. Speaker. And I am happy that the member for Runyenjes and his committee have done a fantastic job to recommend the regulations of social media, including TikTok. Mr. Speaker, I participated in the making of the law that oversees the dissemination, the design, the development of communication messages in this country. The Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act is one of the bills that I am proud as a member of parliament in the previous parliament, having participated in the making of the Data Protection Act. Mr. Speaker, let me tell you, TikTok is one of the social media platforms, has built personalities, has built celebrities, has built musicians, but on the same measure, it has demolished homes, crumbled down people's businesses, broken marriages, forced people to commit suicide, and many other adverse effects of negative publicity, Mr. Speaker. If this House cannot provide a solution on how we are going to move forward with TikTok and other social media, we are going to crumble churches, we are going to crumble mosques, we are going to finish and tear down the social fabric of this country. Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether you know how many women have lost their families, their husbands, their children out of the publicity. In my community in the mountain, people call it chai. Chai is tea, where people publish fake news and they use every available social platform to defame members of parliament, to defame musicians, to defame bishops. Right now in my county, Mr. Speaker, there is a bishop who is under attack because of those fake news. One bishop in my county who started small, God has blessed him. He has risen to the levels of a bishop. And let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, people are now getting even into his bedroom. You can imagine when your children are watching their father being teared down on social platforms without control. Mr. Speaker, we cannot continue this way. I am a victim of the same social bullying. People have bullied me. They have drawn me with funny dresses which I don't wear. They have called me names. They have branded me names. They have occupied my private space. But I thank God because I'm a strong girl, and I'm sure you know that, Mr. Speaker. I'm sure, Mr. Speaker, you know I am one of those.
Mr. Speaker knows Madam Wamuchomba is a strong girl. There's no question about that.
Very, very strong daughter of the mountain. But not every woman who is attacked like Wamuchomba will overcome. Not every bishop who is going to be attacked like Wamuchomba will overcome. Yes. Not every family man who is attacked like that bishop from my county will overcome. Right. Mr. Speaker, this molestation of social media must come to an end. I have allowed them to molest me because I'm strong, but I'm not going to allow them to molest bishops who are doing very good work. Like that bishop I'm talking about, Mr. Speaker, just the other day, he paid school fees for over 500 children, getting to grade 10. And this is somebody who is doing something. Every Sunday, that bishop is feeding thousands of families in his church. He gives them unga every Sunday. But because there are people who want to use social media to bring him down, they create fake news around his family, his wife, his children, and it is trending all over. Mr. Speaker, this house is the only solution that is going to provide sobriety in social media. Mr. Speaker, as one of those who made the data protection law in the previous parliament, one of those who participated in making of Cybercrime Act with KJ here, we are now supporting this report, mandating the committee relevant to come up with proposals on how we are going to regulate social media. We are not banning, but we must regulate. Mr. Speaker, do you know how many carpenters have lost jobs because of social media? I have a case of somebody who went into TikTok and ordered a table from a certain carpenter and paid a deposit to that fake carpenter. And the TikTok page was actually branded the real carpenter, but this was a broker, a thief. So this guy was walking in the street and he was accosted by the customer. He was being asked to refund money he has never even received. How many businesses are coming down because of those fake brokers who use your company image on TikTok, on Instagram, but you are not the person who is actually marketing that. People have been conned online. Deliveries, people create delivery pages. I order a blouse. Somebody tells me, pay this, you're going to deliver the blouse. You are thinking you're trading with a real outlet, shop, only to realize that you're being conned on social media. Mr. Speaker, to sustain a sober business community online, social media must be regulated. To protect our families and our marriages, those of us that are married, social media must be regulated. Mr. Speaker, for us to continue having a sober parliament like this one, where we report only what is being handled here as the business of the House, we must regulate social media. Mr. Speaker, we must make sure that this House is the house of solution, a house of intervention, a house that can defend and protect that voiceless woman. You can imagine how those women who are showcased having some affairs with some Russian character are feeling. Those are women with dignity. What would have happened if those women were Russian? What would have been? What would have happened? You can imagine that woman who is seeing herself in every social TikTok, every social media platform, her private parts, her body. Yeah. You know, all what is going on, Mr. Speaker, is crazy. Yeah. We have abandoned our social fabric for the sake of publicity. This must be stopped. And the only way to do it is not banning, it is regulating. Mr. Speaker, televisions had the freedom. To some extent, we had to regulate the content. Radio stations had their freedom. To some extent, we regulated the content. Even now, for this new media, we must regulate the content. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Rest assured that you have the total support of the chair. Total, undivided, 110% support of the Speaker of the Kenyan National Assembly and his deputy. The value system in this country must be protected and families must be protected. And I assure you, anybody who is going to be on this chair will be on your side through and through. Now I think Ngusia, take no more than 5 minutes. Oh, not Ngusia, MP Fayata.
Yes.
MP Fayata, eh?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank you actually to the petitioner who brought this particular petition.
Yes, Honorable Basil, continue.
Yes. I raised to support the petition to regulate the TikTok, and not only TikTok. We should be talking of all social media platforms. Mr. Speaker, Kenya is not the first to do this level of legislation and the regulation of social media platforms. We have the United Kingdom, which started, the European Union, Ireland, Portugal, and many other countries globally that have taken the center stage to regulate social media platforms, Mr. Speaker. If you look at what is happening currently, we know for sure we are in an exponential age, what we refer as technology age. And young people, we talk of Gen Zs, Gen Alpha, the Beta, Gen Beta, and many other generations to come. All this will be glued to social media, Mr. Speaker. And as a parent, we have a duty to regulate the content, the sites that are being visited by our children, because it's very important to protect these young generations for betterment of this country and many other countries globally. So, Mr. Speaker, if you look at TikTok, for instance, there are many benefits of TikTok. It is used as a creation expression center. We have dancers, we have artists, and so many other people who are actually benefiting and expressing their talent through TikTok. And that is why from onset we said we are not banning, but we are regulating. We have people who are benefiting from employment. They are advertising whatever products they have. Men are even being actually showcasing so many forms of talents within the TikTok and many other social media platforms. There is also an element of education. We have seen situation of healthy tips and many other education activities happening through TikTok and social media platforms. So, Mr. Speaker, what we are doing as House is actually to regulate what appears in the social media platform. And there are many benefits for this regulation. Mr. Speaker, one is to enhance data protection. We have seen a situation of data transfer, but through regulation of what happens within the social media platforms, we'll be able to limit the data transfer and enhance privacy of what is being shared in the social media platforms. Mr. Speaker, we have seen potential foreign influence through TikToks, Instagram, and other social media platforms. So through regulation, we are going to minimize foreign interference in TikTok and social media platform, which could actually have a potential risk on the country, sovereignty, and intelligence, which we have to protect as a House, Mr. Speaker. Importantly, there is element of misinformation, fake news happening through TikTok and other social media platforms. So through regulation, we are going to reduce misinformation, we are going to reduce elements of fake news and other information which have been misused or abuse of information through TikTok and social media platforms. And then consumer protection, Mr. Speaker. We have seen a situation of influencers, people who are paying promotions and who are actually taking advantage of lack of legislation to regulate how TikTok and social media platforms are done. So through this petition, as a House, we are going to come up with the proper laws to regulate this element and reduce or enhance consumer protection, because that's a duty we have to do as legislators. So in summary, to summarize my only summary, Mr. Speaker, this particular petition, through the petitioner who brought it forward, we are going to strengthen the privacy of data. We will be able to support or promote national security, because as I said, there is foreign interference which has a potential risk on intelligence of this particular country, Mr. Speaker. We are going to promote child protection, because as parents we have a duty to protect our children for current and future generations, Mr. Speaker. And then finally, transparency and accountability, because through regulation on TikTok and other social media platforms, we'll be able to attain high level of transparency and accountability, which will be an ultimate goal that we are all championing to see. So with those few remarks, I support and I rest my case, Mr. Speaker.
Where is the mover of this motion? The chairperson. Actually, we had allotted 1 hour, and I think we have already anti-corruption. Anti-corruption on social media regulation. Okay, you got 2 minutes, and then the mover will be called to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I chair the African Parliamentarians Against Corruption. The biggest problem we are having is AI and corruption, TikTok and corruption. The biggest problem, I also sit on the ICT committee. Our ICT Act that we've been working on is over 25 years old, and we are trying to pick up. My own phone is only 2 years old, and the AI is moving very, very fast. The problem of TikTok, I support the motion. China blocked out TikTok. The other day, Mr. Speaker, WorldCom, the people who were taking IRIS information, and we had taken them to task after 2.5 years, have now deleted that false information they got. TikTok collects false information about everybody. And I think that only way possible, and Mr. Chair, you and me, we went to certain school.
Yes.
And change is freeze, change, and unfreeze. The point is here, all the countries who are working on TikTok have done that. First, block it totally. Then work out those items that are working properly and release them over time, so that we do not allow the viruses to come in, Mr. Chair. So, Mr. Chair, I support this, but I say we must work properly by blocking TikTok and some of the others, because the other day I saw the whole of Nyayo Stadium shouting the name of our friend Sufuna. So I was so excited when I saw this, that the rugby people, when I found out it was wrong. Mr. Chair, there are TikTok going around in Kisumu, and people have actually told me, and I'm apparently told my wife has divorced me.
Give him a minute. Let me
Yes.
just conclude.
Mr. Chair, we were shocked when my wife told me something that she is hearing that we are divorced. I said, what do you mean? This is what we're saying is negative. Us politicians will deal with this. But Mr. Chair, we are here. The only way to change is to go freeze, change, and unfreeze. There is no way to say, okay, we will try and do this and this. Like malaria, Mr. Chair, as you're trying to get the vaccination for malaria, the thing changes. So the only way to do it is stop. The way we did COVID, Mr. Chair, we must move physically and fast. An ICT committee that I sit on, we will look into this issue and come back. Those people who are saying that this is a good thing, the gun was a good thing, Mr. Chair. The gun was a good thing. You know what has done? We have had people killing children in the USA. We have had children here being violated. We have the dark web, Mr. Chair. And I think these are the things that we must attend to. Thank you for the 2 minutes, Mr. Chair.
The mover.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Mover to reply. Yes. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. If I may be allowed, I would want to donate a minute to my Vice Chair, and then I'll finish.
Fair enough. Who is your Vice Chair?
Honorable Janet Sitene.
Proceed, Honorable Janet.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also wish to add my voice to this very important motion, and on the outset agree that TikTok should not be banned, but it should be regulated. Should be regulated to be able to safeguard Kenyans from the negative effects arising from the use of social media platforms. It should also be regulated to safeguard our children and protect our children from accessing such contents that pollute their minds. Otherwise, TikTok is a very good platform that can actually earn income and be monetized to be able to empower our youth. We should also regulate this particular TikTok in order to provide for age verification and content filtering. Through the Data Protection Office, Ministry of ICT and Digital Economy, they must compel the TikTok people to localize their offices in our country so that we are able to access and report any issues that pertain to TikTok. We need to compel them to put their offices within our locality to protect our data, privacy, and also our national security. ICT should also look at the content moderators to provide adequate psychosocial support to them because they are no. One minute. I just wanted to say that the TikTok content moderators who are used for many, many hours should be provided with psychosocial support, because that also, after being in that system for a long time, they also need to be cancelled. So there should be psychosocial support for them. And also, we should be able to provide a provision for information and reporting options to be able to flag off the illegal or inappropriate content in time before it goes out to the social and to the public, which is affecting them. So thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me that opportunity. I will give back to...
Over, MP4.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And allow me to thank the honorable members who have contributed to this very important motion. And Honorable Speaker, I am also shocked at the level of misinformation, distortion of information, propaganda, and also fake news that spreads very fast in this country. Mr. Speaker, to re-emphasize on the issue that is being discussed here, there is no bill that we are discussing. This is a motion arising or that was brought by a Kenyan by name Bob Dolo, a petitioner who wanted TikTok regulated. And from the contributions from the honorable members who have added their voices to this motion, Honorable Speaker, you have heard that honorable members support this idea because we have a duty and responsibility as leaders to protect even the very young people who are our children from accessing information that is not good for them. So TikTok, no one is going to ban TikTok. No one has indicated that TikTok should be banned. What the petitioner has prayed this House to do or to push for is for regulation of TikTok so that only good information is shared on those platforms. And Honorable Speaker, no one is disputing that TikTok is a good platform. Many of us, and most of us actually, are in those platforms, are in TikTok. And there we consume good information. There we learn a lot, we get entertained. We are witnesses that TikTok has really employed indirectly so many young people. So the idea of having it banned is neither here nor there. The issue is TikTok being regulated and other social media spaces so that only correct or other good information is shared for the consumption by the Kenyan public. But Honorable Speaker, also allow me to call out people and also honorable members of this House who have misinformed the people. Only 2 hours ago, I have seen the honorable member for Manyata, who has only come here for a minute and gone out. I've seen him in the village misinforming the people that TikTok is being banned. And he has promised the people that he would come to Parliament and oppose the motion. But surprisingly, he has come here, listened to the contributions, heard that there is nothing to do with banning, and he has quietly left. So I ask myself, is it not irresponsible for a leader to go and misinform the people and that he'll come here and oppose a motion, and then he comes here and chickens out without uttering a word? It is irresponsible, and we leaders must take the front seats, take leadership in informing the people on the right information. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank all the honorable members who have contributed to this motion, and also the members of the committee, the Public Petitions Committee. And Honorable Speaker, I have also noted that many members have praised the committee, and I want to thank the members of that committee because they have renewed energy and they are very committed. 100 why lack a quorum, and I have seen them support the committee's work so diligently. So, Honorable Speaker, I thank you and I reply. I beg to reply. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.